Tonight, a COVID outbreak at an Etobicoke High School sends students back to online learning.
We got our kids vaccinated to be back into school, and here we are closed again.
Silverthorne Collegiate Institute becomes the first school in the city to fully shut down after almost a dozen students contracted the virus. Plus,
we will be building a new 256-bed long-term care facility with the support of the province.
The new home in Vaughan is part of the province's initiative to sell unused land to build more long-term care facilities. But advocates say more needs to be done when it comes to staffing. And
you've absolutely got to protect the integrity of the island.
The City of Toronto has some big ideas on how to improve the visitor experience on Toronto Island Park. We'll tell you which ones the public are most on board with. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. When the school bell rang this afternoon to dismiss students at Silverthorne Collegiate, it was done virtually. The Etobicoke School is the first in the city to fully close due to COVID during this new academic year. This after an outbreak was declared by Toronto Public Health. As our Chris Glover tells us, the situation forcing parents and students to readjust to online learning.
The school community at Silverthorne Collegiate today is showing up just to grab COVID testing kits as Toronto Public Health recommends school-wide testing after identifying 11 cases, 9 related to student-to-student transmission.
There were a number of different multi-grade activities and events both inside and outside of school that were found in the course of our investigation that certainly represented opportunities for transmission.
We're getting daily emails with 2 cases every day.
14-year-old Maurizio Garacci says even though he anticipated today's closure, he is not happy.
It's not very good. Nobody really wanted to return to online school.
Public Health is even telling family members of students to get tested.
We're a family of 5. We're going to test everybody to make sure that we're safe.
Parent Terry Mara found out about the entire school dismissal late last night.
And we were really annoyed. We got our kids vaccinated to be back into school, and here we are closed again.
The education minister says COVID has forced the closure of 6 schools province-wide. Silverthorne is the first and only so far this school year in Toronto.
We're lucky, quite frankly, that we've been able to hold out this long without something like this happening. It may last up to 10 days. We are hoping that they can come back sooner rather than later.
Around 20 other TDSB schools are in active outbreak, but they all remain open.
With the situation at Silverthorne, the investigation was such that it was determined that the best thing to do in order to limit ongoing spread and to ensure the safety of the entire learning community, that a whole school dismissal was warranted.
With Silverthorne now shuttered, Mom Terry Mara wants a vaccine mandate for eligible students.
If you're going into the cafeteria eating lunch, you don't have to be vaccinated, and our masks are off. And so what is happening in terms of those protocols?
We're very proud of the fact that 99.9% of our schools in this province are open.
The education minister announced no changes today.
But we are taking nothing for granted. It's why we have extended the rapid antigen testing program to public health needs to deploy to keep schools open.
The education minister says the greatest intervention to prevent an outbreak like this is to increase the vaccination rate. And Toronto Public Health says that their data is showing that school-aged children in this neighborhood have a lower vaccination rate than the city average. So as a result, the public health unit is going to be ensuring that mobile vaccination clinics are in this neighborhood this week. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
After what it saw as a successful first go at a vaccine campaign, the City of Toronto is once again partnering with shopping centres to get more people to get their shot. Today it announced its new Shop and Vax 2.0 campaign.
It continues to be very important for us, and it has been the subject as we move towards the 90% target to shift our efforts so that we can help all eligible first dose recipients now become fully vaccinated with their second dose.
Pop-up clinics were held in malls late last month with more than 1,000 people getting their shot. The city says the goal now is to get more people to get their second dose. Clinics will take place this weekend in 22 locations across Toronto. Mayor Tory also says the city will be reaching out directly to people who have one dose but haven't yet gotten a second. A New York congressman says the U.S. plans to reopen its land border to non-essential travel beginning next month. Democratic lawmaker Brian Higgins has been pushing the Biden administration to resume travel. He says much of his state relies on travel from Canadians to boost the economy. He claimed the border would reopen in a statement, but offered no further details other than an announcement was coming soon. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau opened the Canadian border to fully vaccinated U.S. travelers back in July. The province announced today plans to build a new long-term care home in Vaughan. The 256-bed facility is part of the province's initiative to sell unused government land on the condition that a portion of the site be used for long-term care. But while critics say it's a start, they say more needs to be done when it comes to staffing. Natalie Collada has the story.
They're the future of long-term care. PSWs training at Seneca College's Skills Lab today for what they will face after graduation.
We're practicing PPE. We've got like a mini test just to go over everything, and then we're going to go over some oral care, just practice our skills.
It's high-tech equipment meant to simulate real-world conditions.
We're making it so that it feels like skin.
Today, the Education and Long-Term Care Ministers toured the lab, taking the pulse of a sector in crisis.
We are working with our colleges, private and public. We're working as well with the post-secondary system in cooperation with Minister Lecce to get as many PSWs trained and into the system.
But it's what they're finding once there that critics say is causing many to leave the profession at unprecedented levels.
The exodus in the professional field I've not seen before. These are vaccinated frontline workers who have just had enough.
Overworked, understaffed, and underpaid, Stewart says she's seeing nurses and PSW staff turnover every 2 weeks.
We've got to provide them with full-time jobs. They should not have to seam together 3-4 part-time jobs to make one full-time job. Make it a job with a decent living wage. For personal support workers, that's $25. For registered practical nurses, that's $35. Again, the staffing levels that they have to look at, the 4 hours of care, we can't wait 4 years for that. That needs to be bumped up immediately.
Today, the government also announced a new long-term care facility to be built in Vaughan by 2026.
This 256 beds on this site is part of 2,686 new beds that are currently committed just in York Region.
It's good news, but Stewart warns it's not enough.
There is a dire need for more beds in long-term care, without a doubt. But until there's adequate staffing to be able to take care of the residents who fill those beds, you're not going to solve the crisis in long-term care.
Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
2 people are dead after 5 vehicles collided around rush hour near High Park this afternoon.
There was a dark-colored BMW that was traveling southbound on Parkside Drive, and it was traveling at a high rate of speed.
The crash happened in the area of Spring Road and Parkside Drive north of the Queensway. A 71-year-old man and a 69-year-old woman died in the crash. The 2 were in the same vehicle. 3 other people suffered injuries as well. It's not known if alcohol or drugs played a role in the collision. Police are appealing to anyone who saw the crash to come forward. A Toronto man accused of fatally stabbing a receptionist at a Toronto law firm is now facing a first-degree murder charge. 33-year-old Osman was initially charged with second-degree murder in the death of 29-year-old Julia Ferguson. The attack happened on September 2nd. Ferguson was stabbed while she was working at Hicks Adam Law Firm near King and Sherbourne. She died in hospital 3 days later. Police say the suspect had a previous connection to the law firm. An increasing number of people experiencing homelessness are finding permanent housing thanks to a larger effort from the city to engage with those living in encampments. As Del Manukduk reports, the city is hoping more will be willing to trust the system as it continues to do more outreach.
Chris just moved into his own apartment unit a few weeks ago.
My lease is as long as I need to stay.
This is your place.
This is my place.
CBC agreed to withhold his last name for privacy reasons. The 33-year-old was unhoused for a year. His last stop was the encampment at Dufferin Grove Park. Since securing permanent housing, his physical health has drastically improved.
It's pretty sad that I had to stay in a park to get housed in the first place when I was out looking for help.
Chris says the process was quick, from engaging with city staff to signing a lease and turning the key. For others, it may take a little longer. The city says it can take 6 to 8 weeks to assist an encampment occupant.
People who are experiencing homelessness have incredibly complex issues in their lives. Everybody has their own unique needs.
But the city and park occupants agree that this is the solution.
We want the city to continue this approach because it's working. We're seeing it with our own eyes.
Last week, encampment resident and advocate Ali Khan Pabani was banned from all city parks, but has remained at Dufferin Grove, providing other unhoused people with supplies.
We don't want to go back to the days of Lamport and violent evictions, the days of Trinity Bellwoods and with 400 cops and tactical squad and drones flying overhead.
In July, council passed a motion where city staff could begin housing plans even if people were outside.
And we're starting those housing plans right at the parks. So we've had ID clinics, tax clinics, housing health workers. We have a lot of agencies going to our parks and helping the Streets to Homes team to get this outreach.
That's a huge relief for people living in encampments who say the city shelters are not safe. The city says they've moved 5 people from Dufferin Grove directly into apartments, and at least 11 have started viewing units. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Colette Kennedy joins us now with a first look at the forecast. And Colette, the trend continues with these mild temperatures.
Yeah, just incredible readings. And today marks the 140th day in the year of 2021 that Toronto Pearson's got to 20 degrees or warmer. And we're going to see it again tomorrow. So we got a few more days to go yet. Daytime highs were actually at 22 and 23 in Oshawa and 25 in St. Catharines. And can you believe it came down in Windsor? Because yesterday on Thanksgiving, there was 27 for the daytime high. Today, only 23. So we do have that front that's been working its way through, and along this front, providing some lift. We had the buoyant air, some humidity, right? So it's not changing the temperature so much. It's just going to bring the humidity, those dew points down a little bit. And along it, we've seen a few showers and a few isolated thunderstorms into cottage country as well. Now tomorrow, we'll see primarily drier conditions, a bit of patchy fog to the north and to the east of the city, and into the afternoon, yes, the risk of an isolated shower. So you have that potential there. Back towards southwestern Ontario, you're just going to see more sunshine and clearing into the afternoon. 16 tonight for Toronto and 22, Kelda, the high for.
Thanks so much, Colette. Well, the city has some big ideas for Toronto Island Park. Since launching a project to find ways to improve the visitor experience in the tourist hotspot earlier this year, the city has been consulting with the community to find out which ideas they would most like to see become reality. And as our Jessica Ng reports, they got a big response.
We absolutely got to protect the integrity of the island.
Dale Barber has been studying the history of the Toronto Islands for more than a decade. It's the subject of his new book.
Toronto Island used to be an island that that would grow thanks to the sand being moved along from the shoreline onto the island, whereas now we see it slowly being chewed away.
Barber has ideas for what the island's future should look like, and they're similar to some of those included in a recent report from the city, which has been consulting with the community on what they'd like to see. Torontonians have logged over 75,000 ratings online for things like year-round washrooms and diverse food options. Those two suggestions rated highest in what people hope to see. In a statement to CBC News, Spadina Fort York City Councillor Joe Cressy says, "We have a chance and an obligation to build on the past and ensure that the islands remain an accessible and dynamic place for all." According to the report, the project's first guiding principle is an honor and respect of Indigenous communities and their rights.
We need to listen to different ethnicities, the different backgrounds, genders, and so on. So we really got to pay attention to everyone.
But for Gil Penalosa, the founder and chair of 880 Cities, a nonprofit that advocates for more park and green space in cities.
We must move from talking to doing, because otherwise we're going to have something similar to Ontario Place. The Liberals, they had majority government for many, many years, and they did almost nothing.
Barber also looking forward to when the new Toronto Island Park is completed and hopes it remains a peaceful escape.
I think that is the charm of the island, and it's always been the charm of the island.
The city is slated to finalize its Toronto Island Park master plan by August next year. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
The city's automated speed enforcement devices are on the move again, relocating for the third time. It's a part of the Vision Zero program that aims to reduce traffic-related deaths. The devices issued more than 36,000 tickets over July and August. In July, there were more than 1,200 repeat offenders. That number dropped to 764 in August. Now, the most ticketed intersection was on Greenwood, north of Danforth and Glebe-Home Boulevard. About 15% of all tickets in August were from this enforcement speed camera. The cameras will be moved to new locations across the city starting in November. Well, the much anticipated and delayed Eglinton LRT is still in the works, but many of the underground stops are getting close to completion. Our Greg Ross was at the Science Center station today to get a sneak peek.
The Science Center is about 90% complete.
The Science Center station is one of the farthest along in the LRT construction process. The tracks and platforms are all ready to go, and trains are already running.
Whenever you see the train coming and you see the full surroundings, you see, oh, this is wonderful.
Only a handful of the 38 trains they plan to use on the LRT are currently on the tracks, but they are running daily for testing purposes.
We're actually testing, static testing and dynamic testing the vehicles. And we're putting the trains, preparing the trains for service.
Construction crews are now putting the finishing touches on escalators and elevators and some of the elements that will make the station fully functional.
We've roughed in the turnstile where the turnstiles would go, and where the Presto machines will go, and where the ticket sales booth is going to go. It's all there.
Metrolink says when it's complete, the LRT will be able to move 5,500 passengers an hour during peak times and will be 60% faster than the bus system in place on Eglinton right now.
There will be a total of 25 stops along the 19-kilometer LRT route, with 15 of them underground like this one.
Each will have massive works of art on the walls, like this design at the Science Center, created by New York artist Sarah Morris.
The integrated art into the stations is an important element of our design standards, and we work with each community to, the artists that are important to them and the artwork that was important to them.
While Metrolink still doesn't have a firm launch date for the LRT, they say they're still on track to begin public service sometime late next year. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
You're looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline. It's partly cloudy tonight, but becoming clear overnight. Temperature is pretty mild. Currently, it is 20 degrees in downtown Toronto. Let's go back to Colette now with a look at your extended forecast. And Colette, these mild temperatures will stick around for at least the next few days.
Yeah, that's really going to be the trend carrying on through this week. It wasn't just a treat that we had for the holiday weekend, this week as well. But I do want to show you the jet stream pattern here and this sort of seesaw. So this colder air and trough that's in the west. Now, eventually, that's going to start to brew the storm that will really change things in terms of our temperatures. So we have a few things that kind of happen with bringing in some rain showers at times this week, but it's not going to be till we get to the weekend that we'll see that more significant colder air be able to work its way in and just kind of drop us back to seasonal temperatures where we should be for this time of year. So it was a weaker cold front that's been passing through this evening and through these overnight hours. We're just seeing a few isolated storms along that, some lightning strikes there, otherwise some rain showers. And tomorrow it is lighter stuff. You'll get into clearing in the afternoon for southwestern Ontario, but some isolated showers, a few sprinkles here and there possible into the GTA. Mostly we're just going to have a bit of extra cloud cover. And then as we go into Thursday, you get into some wet conditions first early in the day for the southwest, into the afternoon through the GTA, and a lot of cloud cover to go around. So these are those couple of systems. They're not the real playmakers in terms of changing our temperatures dramatically, though. So tonight, those temperatures remain like this, and tomorrow like this. So you're still seeing those readings making it into the 20s. And a look around the GTA, Markham, Oshawa, the risk of some fog there. Tomorrow up to 24 in St. Catharines. Not going to rain everywhere, just be prepared for a little shower. Thursday, 20 degrees. Friday, we're at 19 for a high. Check out the overnight lows. Now they're coming down, but they're still well above seasonal. We should be closer to 6 for an overnight low. But as we go towards Saturday, this knocks us back near where a daytime high is. Now it's into the mid-teens and starting to drop, but we do get into some rain. The timing does appear like it's going to be into our weekend. And then Sunday, we should get some partial clearing, but those overnight lows will be something we haven't felt in a while, with overnight lows in the single digits, making for some cooler starts to the day, Kelda.
Thanks so much, Colette. The Toronto Maple Leafs will drop the puck for their NHL season opener tomorrow at Scotiabank Arena, and it will be to a full house.
Been having games, as you know, and concerts for the last couple of weeks with 50% capacity, so we've been working through the bugs, and we're super confident that we are now more than able to safely welcome a full building of fans.
Officials from Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment have updated pandemic protocols with capacity limits lifted. Fans will have to show proof of vaccination to get into the arena for Leafs and Raptors games. The Leafs will face the Habs for their home opener tomorrow night, but they will be without star player Austin Matthews, who is still recovering from wrist surgery in the offseason. All right, go Leafs. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.